What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. We are talking about expectations today and pressure going into the NBA playoffs. We have our tiers here. Finals or bust, conference finals at minimum, see how it goes, and already did it / no expectations. As you can see, I didn't include every playoff team here. Let's be honest, nobody cares about the Hawks or the Heat or any of the Warriors. Nobody cares about those play-in teams that are deep down. We're going to keep it to mostly playoffs. I do have one play-in team. It's the Phoenix Suns. But at the time of recording, the Phoenix Suns have more wins than the Philadelphia 76ers. So I figured I might as well include them as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. We're going to talk about my Boston Celtics. And I'm going to put them in see how it goes. The reason why I put them in see how it goes is because there was no expectations for the start of the year. This was a team that was expected to be in a gap year or a tank year, anything you want to really call it. And they've managed to piece together probably a 55-win team. And even my expectations were about 45 at max. So they've completely blown expectations out of the water. The reason they're not in already did it / no expectations is, they already did it technically. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, those guys were already mainstays on the team during the championship run. But the reason that they're up a row and see how it goes is because Jaylen Brown, this is his first playoff run as the guy. And special attention is going to be paid to him. He's going to get the most physical defender every night. Playoffs are a different beast than regular season. He's done a really good job at handling being the 1A during the regular season. Playoffs a different animal. And that's not to say Jaylen Brown's legacy is on the line. I hate when we do that shit. No, it's just I want to see how he responds to being the guy in a first-round series, a second-round series. They might be matching up with Orlando in the first round. That's a tough defensive team. So I think there's a little bit of pressure on Jaylen Brown specifically. The rest of the team, though, like Hugo Gonzalez, Neemias Queta, those guys don't have much expectations or pressure at all. They weren't supposed to be here to begin with. Jordan Walsh is on that list. A really fun season for my Boston Celtics. I've enjoyed watching them. At the time of recording last night, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks in a game where they didn't have Queta or Jaylen Brown. Incredible run from them so far. The Celtics don't have much expectations, especially with Tatum coming back off the Achilles as well. I didn't even mention that. If Tatum comes back off the Achilles, there's still no expectations. The guy just blew his Achilles less than a full calendar year ago. It's more so a ramp-up period. You get what I mean. There shouldn't be expectations on the Celtics, but there is a little bit on Jaylen Brown to kind of see, can he be the guy on a playoff team? More so a deep-run playoff team. You get what I mean. Denver Nuggets. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm kind of putting the Nuggets in finals or bust. This is a team that invested very heavily in the offseason into this team. They reworked their whole roster from last season. Michael Porter Jr., goodbye. They bring in bench guys. Bruce Brown's on the team. Jonas Valanciunas is on the team. And then there's internal development from guys like Peyton Watson. They've brought in Cam Johnson's in. They just signed Tyus Jones yesterday as well. The Nuggets are in finals or bust because this is the best roster Jokic and them have had. This season's Nuggets are the deepest Nuggets team I've seen. I don't know if I phrased that well. This Nuggets team is the deepest one we've seen during the Jokic era, probably in my opinion. And this team has kind of underperformed. Very much so underperformed. It's because they've been injured, in and out. Coach Adelman has not been able to get a consistent rotation going with these guys. Plus, the defense is outrageously bad. With P. Watt and Gordon out, it looks even worse now. They just let up almost a $130 to Utah in a regulation game last night, and they almost blew their lead. They had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. When you have the best player on earth, I will just say that the pressure's already there. Just like when Giannis was the best player on earth, just like, when LeBron was or Curry was, the expectation is that it's it's finals or bust. You're the best player in the league, and especially with the additions they made this offseason, this was supposed to be the deepest Nuggets team we've seen, and it hasn't kind of gone that well, considering, but either way, they could turn it around come playoff time. If this team makes a good, deep run in the playoffs, finals, public opinion will change on them like that. But as of right now, it is a little bit worrisome, but I think there's a lot of pressure on them. They reworked this roster quite a bit from last year. They need to be better than last year. Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm putting them in conference finals at minimum. They still have yet to make a conference finals during the Mitchell, Mobley, Allen era. I was going to throw Garland in there. He's not a part of it. They've yet to make a conference finals. That's troublesome automatically. Automatically, you're thinking to yourself, this team's a bunch of chokers and stuff like that. They've kind of been given that label of chokers almost. And I don't think finals is mandatory for them because Harden was thrown into the fray kind of at midseason, and he was just kind of thrown into the fire. Same with Schroeder, Keon Ellis. The rest of these guys have been there. Mobley, Allen, Tyson, Donovan, of course. But they need to at least make the conference finals. at least. I should put them higher because they did invest more in their team trading Garland for James Harden, but I'm not gonna because Harden already is injured. So that kind of changes my perception of their expectations. I have them a notch down from the Nuggets, but in all reality, they could go up a row. I'm just choosing not to because Harden is already hurt. That's a guy that kind of got thrown in, like I said, at midseason. This wasn't a team like Denver that was established before the season started. This Cavs team had Darius Garland on it to start the year, and I didn't factor in Tyson, Tomlin, or any of those other guys that have kind of come and made an impact, Craig Porter. So they need to make a conference finals run. They really do. A team that choked, I guess, last year in the second round to Indiana, they need to make the conference finals. They really do. They need to shake that label of a team that just can't get over the top. It's conference finals or bust, I guess. It's a weird way of phrasing it, but they need to at least make it to the conference finals, in my opinion. KC, I know I could put them in already did it, no expectations, but I kind of think it's still finals or bust. They reloaded, kind of, from last year. They just got internal development and stuff like that and internally developed their players. A.J. Mitchell has come a long way from last year. Even Cason Wallace has come a long way, Wallace and Gromit. That's what I like to call him and Lou Dort is Wallace and Gromit. Obviously, they could go into the already did it, no expectations thing, but technically so did Denver. I'm just putting OKC in there because when you're a team that has just won the finals, coming off the finals, you reload, kind of. Like I said, bringing A.J. Mitchell, not in because he was already on the team last year, but giving him a bigger role, stuff like that. This team has gotten some internal development, and I think there's still some pressure there. And if they don't make the finals, it feels not like a waste. It kind of is wasted year, to be honest with you. Shea's in his prime. J-Dub has got an extension, I believe, already, and so is Chet. This is kind of the expectations there. They've been dominant, the 1 seed all year. There's pressure there when you've been dominating the league the way they have this year. The Knicks, I'm going to put in conference finals at minimum. It's another team that's like built around a bunch of vets. Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, Brunson, they're all vets. Every single one of them is a vet. They have a couple of young guys that they've been relying on recently. Mo Diawara, Tyler Kolek has been a very interesting piece for them. But overall, I think that they're in conference finals at minimum. They did make the conference finals last year. I could put them in finals or bust this year. I guess I have to. I don't know. Tough one because they made the conference finals last year, and that doesn't really, you know what I mean? Making it to the conference finals again for the Knicks feels like it'd be kind of a waste of time, I guess. I don't know how to phrase this because I don't feel like it's finals or bust for them. I don't think that this is a core that can move away from each other very soon. I think they're going to be a team next year probably too. But do I put them in finals or bust? I don't know. I think I do have to put them in finals or bust. They made the conference finals last year. It's the same team, but they got better adding Alvarado and some young guys off the bench. They got better. Finals or bust, that feels fair in my mind at least. The one thing in my mind that kind of holds the Knicks back from a team like an OKC is just because I think that they don't have the, how do I describe it? The consistent interior presence. Mitchell Robinson is very, very good. But if your perimeter defenders are allowing blow-bys, Cat is free cheese at the rim. We've known that for a decade now. I think that could hold the Knicks back. I don't really see much that should hold the Knicks back, though. There's not many flaws when I look top to bottom on this team. They have competent guard play now with Brunson. His backup is Alvarado, Kolek. That's good. On the wings, you have Bridges and Anunoby. Still good there. And at the big spot, Towns, Robinson. I mean, that's not bad. Jordan Clarkson was off the bench for a little bit. They have a decent team, and they reloaded from last year. They got better from last year. The pressure should be up a little bit. I guess I'm starting to talk myself into finals or bust. Can I be honest? For the Spurs, I'm just going to put them and see how it goes. I don't think there should be a ton of pressure. Are they the 2 seed? Yeah. I think the one thing that adds a little bit of pressure to them is the fact that they beat the Thunder twice, 3 times or whatever. They've beaten the Thunder multiple times, and I think that adds pressure. The fact that they've shown that they can go toe-to-toe with the reigning champions, the 1 seed in the league right now, league-wide standings, they are number 1. You've shown that you can go toe-to-toe with them multiple times this season and beat them. They've shown multiple times this season. That's what adds a little bit of pressure. I don't think it's you know what I mean? They're in the second lowest tier. It's not like some finals or bust year, obviously. It's just kind of a little bit of pressure because it's you've shown that you can match up with the best of the best. Can you do it come playoff time now? It's a little bit of pressure, not a lot. Still a young team. Castle, Harper, Wemby, Carter, Bryant, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. It's not an old team. This isn't a team full of vets. They do have some vets, but it's mostly a younger team. And if they could get it done this year, it'd be really fun. But if they didn't, I don't think anyone would really call it a failure of a season. I didn't expect them to be the 2 seed coming in to begin with. I guess that's where I can kind of call back to preseason predictions. You know what I mean? Like teams like OKC, the Knicks, the Nuggets were expected to be at the top of their conference. The Spurs were kind of a mixed bag. With me personally, I didn't have high expectations for them. Victor coming off of his deep vein thrombosis. De'Aaron Fox just got an extension, but he's always been a consistent solid. And just a bunch of young guys. Stephon Castle won Rookie of the Year last year, but wasn't necessarily the best rookie we've ever seen. Jump shot spotty, elite defender though. And then Derek Harper just gets brought in. Carter Bryant just gets brought in. Those guys have played big rotational minutes. So while I think there is a little bit of pressure, it's not a lot on the Spurs. They're fairly young. The Detroit Pistons, I'm going to put them in no expectations. I kind of have to. They are a very young team. They are. Duren, Cade, Asar, Ron Holland even is very young. Isaiah Stewart's younger than you would expect, to be honest with you. He looks like he could be 30. I think he's 24 or 25. So it's a fairly young team. Nobody expected them to be the 1 seed out east. I challenge you to pull up any prediction that had the Pistons as the 1 seed from preseason. It probably didn't exist, right? So that's what kind of gives me the no expectations thought for them. Yes, there is expectations of they should probably at least win a first round series, but I don't think they're on the same level as the Celtics or the Spurs, because the Celtics and the Spurs have been consistently good the last few years. The Pistons cannot say the same. Technically, the Spurs haven't, but the Spurs have a generational talent. You know what I mean? A guy that was the guy. Cade kind of had to mold himself into being the guy, quote unquote. Differentiator between the Spurs and the Pistons for me is the fact that the Pistons play in the East. I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but the East is kind of bad toward the bottom, very bad toward the bottom. And the Pistons have been able to kind of separate themselves from the Eastern Conference, while the Spurs, they're still in the thick of it because the West is tough as nails. I think the Pistons are in a different spot simply because of the fact that they've outperformed everyone's expectations, completely blew them out of the water. The Suns, I'm putting in no expectations as well. They are managing to stay afloat. 7 seed, like I said, they have more wins than the Philadelphia 76ers right now. That's a team that had actually no expectations. They've outperformed everybody's. That's another team that has consistently outperformed everyone's expectations all year. Sure, they're injured right now. Booker should be back a few days. And then Dylan Brooks, whenever he gets back, when they get healthy, they're a really fun team. There's no expectations there, though, because they were expected to be tanking, and they aren't. They're not even close to getting a top 5 pick. They're not even close to getting a top 10 pick. This is a team that could still sneakily get into the playoffs somehow. Is sneakily even a word? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Correct my English. I don't know. The Suns don't have any expectations on them because they've been better than everyone anticipated. That 3-point shooting, they are a deadly 3-point shooting team. And they have a bunch of guys that get their hands on the ball, like Jordan Goodwin. Is he back? The last time I watched the Suns game, I feel like he got hurt. I don't know. And then Gillespie's really good. Royce O'Neal, deflection king as well. The Suns don't have any expectations because they've been 100 times better than I think everyone anticipated. The Raptors, I'm going to put and see how it goes. They're in a weird spot because there were some people that thought they would be trash preseason. I was in the boat of they're going to be good enough to be a playoff team. Maybe not an elite one, but they're a playoff team. Their defense travels. They are an elite defense every day. That's one of those things that they've really mastered is being a great defensive team, and they're so switchable, handsy. The reason why I think there's not many expectations, not a ton of expectations on them, is simply because this is a team that fired their GM also before the season. Masai left maybe a month before the season, right? Wasn't it really close to the season? He even got the draft. He drafted CMB and then dipped a month after. So they were in a really weird spot coming into the year. And at the beginning of the season, they were awful. I don't know if you guys remember the first month of the year, but the Raptors were not a good team. People were thinking Darko might get replaced straight up. So I don't have a ton of expectations on them. I think they're a rock-solid team. Who knows? Maybe they can even make a conference finals, maybe. But they're essentially playing with house money because this was a team that was organized by a completely different GM. A completely different guy was running the show before the season started. And now they're in a spot where it's they're there, might as well compete. And especially with the young guys they have, whether it's Shed, Scotty Barnes is still pretty young. Quickly's relatively young too. Like, they have some young guys where it's like, oh, it'll be nice to get them some development and let them see the playoffs and stuff like that. So this is good for them. But at the same time, like I said, it's not the same group that built the team. The group that built the team is no longer the ones operating. So there's still some things that make me kind of think like there's no expectations on them. Los Angeles Lakers, I mean, it's conference finals minimum. I could put them higher, but I think we all realize that they probably aren't going to win the finals. Whether it's the redundant skill sets from the big three of Reeves, Luka, Braun, whether it's the lack of perimeter or interior defense, whether it's DeAndre Ayton, or the fact that their best perimeter defender is Vando, and then after that it's a steep drop-off. There's still people out there that will try and convince you Luka Doncic is a net neutral defender. I don't know what they're smoking. I need it. I need it badly. I slept terribly last night. The Lakers are a team that has so many flaws, but they have top-end talent. And that's kind of what saves them, And their big three doesn't play well together. That's definitely worrisome in a playoff series. That's your closing lineup doesn't play well together. That's worrisome. The reason why they're in conference finals at minimum is because they have Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. You don't need any other reasons. You have LeBron and Luka on the same team. That's a team that's expected to win. You have a bunch of guys that are like all-star caliber. Need to win with them. I understand the team around them is not the best, but I think the expectation's still there. The Lakers were supposed to be a good team coming into the year. They've been a good team, good enough at least. But come playoff time, I kind of worry about them. I don't know. We'll see how the playoffs actually goes for them. But as for expectations, they have, 2 top-line guys, 3 top-line guys. The rest is kind of mid, but when you have 3 top-line guys, you need to win. See, Houston's in a tough spot because I'm not exactly sure how to feel about the Rockets and where I should put them here. I'm going to put them in, I guess, conference finals at minimum, simply because of the loss of Fred VanVleet. They knew coming into the year that they didn't have much guard play because of the loss of Fred VanVleet and his injury, his torn ACL. That's what kind of differentiates them. If they still had Freddie, they'd be up here unquestionably. Undoubtedly they'd still be up there. But they don't. And he was like a veteran presence for them. Without Freddie, they've needed Kevin Durant to be like the stabling force the entire season. And as we all know, Kevin Durant is not always the most stable individual, So I think the Rockets have a good amount of pressure on them. They need to win because they did trade Dylan and Jalen for KD, and they traded, I believe, some picks too. So you better win. I mean, you make a big trade, a splash trade, go get Kevin Durant. You need to win something. But at the same time, I don't think they're at the top of it because coming into the year, we knew they kind of already got bent over by injuries. They still have 2 All-Stars, though, so that's what brings them up higher. You have Kevin Durant, you have Alperen Sengun. On top of that, you still have like Amen Thompson, Tari Eason being a dipshit yesterday. Who did he shove to the ground? I believe it was Watkins from the Wizards. I was just talking about him yesterday. Big guys getting all over the place. That game was hectic, by the way. I'm proud of the Wizards because down the line in that game, there was an inbound pass, and KD tried to pass and ended up getting stolen for a dunk. They ended up cutting it to like a 5-point game in a matter of like 30 seconds. When it was 10, they didn't win the game. But man, they fought late in that game. Why am I talking about the Wizards? Lord knows. I don't know. This is a playoff expectations video. But the Rockets having 2 All-Stars at the top and Sengun and KD puts pressure on them automatically because of the KD trade. They kind of pushed their chips to the center, pushed their young players to the center, traded Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks. And, yeah, you got Kevin Durant. That automatically puts you in the you need to win area of the bracket. The Philadelphia 76ers, I'm putting in see how it goes. I'm not sure. I can't expect much out of this team. Nobody can. They're very reliant on Joel Embiid's health, right? And Joel Embiid and healthy playoff series has been damn near a running gag for what feels like the NBA gods. It's a running gag for them because it doesn't exist. I can't put that many expectations on them. They're a younger team without Embiid. If you don't factor Embiid in, I know that. So here's the thing: VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. They've been calling that tandem VJ Max, like a playoff of TJ Maxx. By the way, I hate TJ Maxx. It's a completely different story. Hear me out, Philly fans. You have a third guy, a younger guy, a young center named Adem Bona. If you throw all 3 of those names together, you could come up with edge maxing my Bona. I propose we just use that name. Maybe I'm cooking too much in the kitchen. Probably cooking up straight up mustard gas. I don't know. I'm putting the 76ers and see how it goes because Maxey and Edgecombe are still relatively young players, and Joel Embiid's health is a big determining factor on whether they're going to win or not. And I'm not putting any expectations on them because, again, it's based on Joel Embiid, and that's one of the more non-reliable stars we have in the league currently. And it's not always his fault. Completely understand that. But that's the circumstance. That leaves the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know, I'm putting them in finals or bust. I don't know if that's a hot take or not because they've made the conference finals a ton. They've shown that they can do it. You just got to go past it now. Anthony Edwards has been in the conference finals, 2-3 times already in his career? You got to go past it at some point. And this team, you bring in Ayo Dosunmu at midseason, it's a competent team. They look decent, and it really puts some optimism in my heart for the Timberwolves, I guess, kind of like a belief in them. But when you've shown for the last few seasons that you can make the conference finals, eventually the expectation becomes, okay, you made the conference finals a bunch. What about the finals appearance? And you don't want to go down as one of those teams that can only make the conference finals. I'm thinking back to the Memphis Grizzlies, the grit and grind Grizzlies. They couldn't get over the top of the conference finals. A couple of teams like that. But if not this season, I don't know if there's going to be a time better for Minnesota to make their moves and go to the finals. I know they have to get past OKC, who has kind of I don't want to say put belt on them, but it has happened a couple of times. They got to get past Denver. I think they can get past Denver. I really think they can. I think they can get past Houston. I really can see them making the finals. But, again, it's very much relying on Anthony Edwards' late-game execution. That's the one thing that might kill them late. I looked at Julius Randle's clutch stats. That's a flashbang. That's like getting hit with a flashbang or a slug from a shotgun. Just brutally bad clutch stats from Julius Randle, and that's their second star. So that definitely puts some worry in my mind. But they've made the conference finals a couple of times already. You've shown that you can make it that far. How about the next stage? And especially when they invested and brought in Ayo Dosunmu at midseason, that means something. That means that the front office has belief in this unit. So guess what? It's time to cash the checks. That's it for the tier list. If you enjoyed this video, then you should like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you all for joining me. Talk to me where I went wrong, where I'm right. Talk to me about your favorite team in the comments. I'm going to catch you game. See you guys in the next one.